You want to overclock your GPU? Got something old and it's just not cutting it anymore? I'm going to show you how simple it is to do it. Let's go. All right, overclocking your GPU. How simple or hard is it? How dangerous is it? I don't know. There's going to be limits. These programs have limits. These modern GPUs, they have limits. They have resistors. They got thermistors. They have thermal protection. If something gets too hairy, it's going to shut itself off. Now, you might see some crazy stuff going on your screen. Pixelation, dead screens, things that look just weird as all hell. That just means we got to cut things back a little bit. But if you're safe and you do this the way I show you how to do it, using the programs I show you, you should be okay. I must warn, overclocking at your own peril. You know, you go too high, you don't have enough cooling, these fans stop fanning, you could damage something. We are going to be giving these things a higher voltage, a little more juice than they're normal. That's going to create more heat. Fair warning, you're doing this at your own risk. Do I think it's risky? Not if you just do a little baby one and we do it the way we should do it. There's a risk. It's on you to do it. But these modern programs, they're created to do this. It's not like we have to go in and tweak something, do something shiesty. No, I'm going to show you two programs that show it step by step. We'll click something, it'll do it. We'll take a benchmark, we'll see what happens. Is it even worth doing it? All right, first and foremost, you're going to have to download one of two programs. These programs will be called, the most popular, from what I've read, would be something called MSI Afterburner. That's number one. Or the second runner-up guy, and I don't know if he's better, worse, I don't know. I just haven't heard as many forums, or read as many forums where they use this guy. EVGA Precision X1. We're going to test them out both today. Now, if we're overclocking one of these things to see if we can save its life, give it a couple FPS more, what I mean, you know, you got to come into this as what are you trying to achieve? You just want a couple more frames per second? Do you think that this is going to create magic miracles and you're going to go from 50 frames to 200? It's not. You're not going to get that crazy of a jump. Are you just trying to get to 60 stable and you're at 45, 50 now? Maybe a little boost? I don't know. Maybe you got to hit that 144 because you just got a new monitor and you're normally at 120 and you want to get a stable 144. Maybe we can boost it up. I don't know. Let's get started, right? I'll show you the two programs. I'll show you what you do and we'll go from there. All right. Before we get started on any overclocking, you need to do something. You got to download some stuff. I can't do it for you. I'll just guide you through it and we'll walk through it together. But you got to download it. So you need to go to MSI's website and get Afterburner. And then you got to go to EVGA's website and get Precision X1. And then you can either just go straight in-game and just FPS, overclock, FPS. Straight up. Or we can get like a number, a physical can't hold it. Let's get an actual number. I was at 10. I did a little overclock. Now I'm at 12. That's a result. All right. So if we want some kind of result like that, we need some kind of benchmark software. For benchmarking, we're going to use Heaven. I believe that's how you pronounce it. That's definitely how you pronounce it. So it's Heaven's benchmark, and it is called Heaven Benchmark DX11, and it's Unigine Heaven Benchmark 4.0 Basic Edition. It's free. You can get a free version. And then that's how we're going to get a nice benchmark, a nice solid number to start with to compare and see if we get a result. Now, there's a different couple things you can do when you're in this benchmark. We're going to load this up together, and I'll show you some stuff. But let's start there. Let's download Unigine's Heaven Benchmark 4.0 so we can get a number, and then we can compare numbers. I like comparing numbers, and then we'll compare FPS in-game to see if our numbers and our FPS in-game jive. Do they both go up? Does one go up and the other not go up? And then our number doesn't mean anything? Let's get a number so we can compare a number. Everybody knows 15 is bigger than 14. So let's get a number and start there. All right. All right, here we go. Heaven DX11 Benchmark by Unigine or Unigine, whatever you call it. Here it comes. All right, so we're going to start. So I'm running OBS Streamlabs in the background, whether that does anything, takes away any resources, puts a strain on my graphics card in any sort of way. It is what it is. I'm not going to compare my number to yours. Your number doesn't have to be to mine because we're all going to have everything different. But I just need a number to start with, and then I'll have a number to compare it to. So right away up in the corner, you can see just while it's doing this, it's giving you a nice FPS. So that's an important thing that we have to look for. So look in your top right corner. Once you've downloaded this program, we should all be running it now. There's no more downloading. So you're going to look up in the corner. The scenes are going to change. So you're going to see your FPS, a big number, one scene. You might see it drop to a lower number, another scene. It's going to tell you your graphics card, what kind you have. Right now we're using the GeForce GTX 1066 gigabyte. Then it's going to show you the graphics card, the core speed that it's actually running at. It's running at 2012 megahertz. That's how fast it's doing its calculations. Now its memory is right below it. This has 4004 megahertz memory. That's how fast the memory on the graphics card is running. Then you can see temperature. Temperature's at 71 degrees Celsius. Remember, I want to keep this card below 80 degrees Celsius. Now, if you don't do anything and we just sit here, this will just infinitely play. For the rest of your life, it'll just do this and do this and do this. As you can see, something's happening because our temperature has climbed up to 73. All right, this isn't a benchmark. This isn't going to give us a number. Like I said, it's going to infinitely loop. It's very pretty to look at, and it's going to have some sound at some point. But to actually get this test started, you must go to the top left corner, click benchmark. And now you'll see something called benchmarking, ... Same stuff up in the right. You can watch that. You can watch your temperature creep up or remain how it is. And then you can look at the bottom right screen, and that's going to actually show you in frame per second what FPS you're achieving right now. Frames per second, how long is the time taking, the test taking to run, how many total frames has it gone through, the minimum frames that it has been able to achieve, the maximum frames that it has been able to do, and what scene you're on. Now, if at any point you want to get out of this because, I don't know, you don't like it, your temperature's getting too high, hit that escape button and jettison. Hit the button. Boom! So you're just watching now. This should be your first run. If everything has been happy the way you have had it before, your fans in your CPU case are running, your liquid cooling, whatever it is great. Everything, should be happy right now. Your GPU is going to be pushed to its limits right here. It's going to be benchmarked. It's going to be beaten up, so we'll say. And it's going to get hot. Mine is stable right now. It's 72 degrees, 73 degrees Celsius. Its fans are spinning, not spinning obnoxiously loud. I guess it doesn't think that it needs that. That is something else that in the overclock we can actually manually adjust. But it doesn't seem like we need to now. The test is already at scene 9 of 26. So we're going to get a result here. Look at this pretty dragon. Wow. All right, here we go. We're up to 74, 73. So we're fine. I set my limit at 80 degrees. That's just my limit. You can set your limit higher. You can set your limit lower. I'm good with maxing out while doing a benchmark or a game to be at 80 degrees Celsius. And we just sit back and we wait and we watch. It's like a steampunk type of scene. And we'll just look at it together. And we're about getting close to halfway done the test. Depending on your graphics card, your graphics card might complete this test faster than my graphics card. Or they might all take the same amount of time. I don't know. I only have this, and that's what we're going with. You can see this scene must be a little more labor intensive. It dropped down to 91 frames, 92 frames. Well, now we're getting the big wide view. Must be less. Look at this. So we're on the wide view now, less detailed, and you'd be up in the 112s, 120s. We're dropping down. We're very close to something, and they want to show us some details. So we dropped down. Very interesting to watch. The scenes go by and what FPS is doing what and when. Right now, there's still some detail, and we're holding good at 100. Oh, drop down. There's shadows going on. It's darker. Drop down below the 100. This is very interesting. See, we're almost done. We're at scene 18 of 26. Now is time, you can just let this thing do its thing, walk away, go eat some dinner. I would say do that if this is your regular standard clock. Now, if we're trying to watch this for an overclock, maybe we're going to pay a little bit more attention to that temperature. So if this is your initial run and you have done nothing to the card so far, go away, eat some dinner, have a donut, have some ice cream, and come back and see what your score is. If this is your second run, your overclocked run, then we're going to sit here and we're going to watch that temperature. You can actually watch FPS, depending on how your memory is. You could be like, oh, when we're going here, scene 23, I was getting 99, 100, 120, 140, 115. And then when we come back next time, do you remember what FPS you had? Getting close to the end now, 24 out of 26. It's a pretty benchmark. There's other things we can use the benchmark, and maybe we will. But this is the initial number that we need to start with. We start here, and we get a number. Scene 26, when the lights go out, the benchmark will be over, and we'll get a result. Here she comes, 2792. Look at this, Unigine Heaven benchmark 4.0. So we're going to write this down, screen capture it, save it somewhere. This is the number we need to start with. FPS 110.8. Score 2,792. Minimum frames, maximum frames. It tells you your platform, your CPU, your GPU, and it tells you the settings that were on at the time. Okay? I want you to keep your settings the same as mine, or as long as you start the same and benchmark the same, put your settings on whatever you want. Mine were that. DirectX 11, 1920 by 1080, custom preset, ultra quality, tessellation disabled. There you go, 2792. I can tell you that since I'm running Streamlabs OBS in the background, it has, because I've done this test before, it has taken away some of the power from my GPU to capture the on-screen that I'm showing you right now. When I don't have Streamlabs running, I can achieve a 3052 on my last test. So while I'm capturing video, it is lowering my benchmark. So in my case, since I have that as a parameter, I have to keep that as a parameter. I must record the next video with the overclock, as the numbers wouldn't be fair if I didn't record that video for you guys. So at 2792 is where I'm going to start. Now we'll click quit, and we'll quit the application, and it will close. And everything's fine. We didn't see anything. So these are my settings. I'm English. I speak that. Preset custom. API DirectX 11. Quality ultra. Tessellation disabled. Stereo 3D disabled. Multi-monitor disabled. Anti-aliasing off. Full screen check. Resolution 1920 by 1080. Those are my settings that I'm using. Feel free to change them on yours, but keep them all the same when we run your next test. All right, now we have our benchmark. Now we can attempt an overclock. What we must do is click MSI Afterburner. This little stupid thing is going to pop up. We're going to click yes. Now, here we go, boys and girls. Strap in. That's it. That is our home screen. That's what we're looking for. As you can see, there's two gauges. One gauge here, one gauge over here. We're going to be looking at these numbers, this stuff right in the middle here. All right, our core voltage, our power limit, our temp limit, our core clock, our memory clock, and then our fan speed, which is set to auto. Okay, first thing we're going to want to do is I'm going to take this temperature limit down to 80. That's where I wanted it. Okay, that's just where I'm comfortable putting it. All right, now I'm going to take this power limit, because if we're going to make something faster, we must give it some more gas. If we're driving down the road doing the speed limit, and we want to do more than the speed limit because we just want to, you have to push the right pedal, which would in turn put more gas, more fuel. Biggity boom, boom, boom. We need to add gas to the car to make it go faster. With the GPU, we can't dump gas on this thing or we would start a fire. So to give it more gas, we have to tell it that you can use more power. How do we tell it to use more power? Our power limit right now, when set to the temp limit of 80, in my specific setup, our power limit would be using 93% of the power. Okay, so if we want to adjust this, look at this. I can't adjust the power without the temp. They're locked together. What's that do? Let's unlock them. Good. So let's put that temperature. So this little guy right here, as you can see, if I move one, they both move. Now, I'm not doing anything right now because I haven't hit this check mark. So don't feel like anything crazy is happening. You're not going to break anything just sitting here futzing around. You can't do anything, or your computer won't do anything till you hit this check mark. Okay. So if I move this while this is checked, they will move in tandem. They will stay in lockstep. Boom, 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 boom. Let's take it off. Let's kick you down to 80 just to be extra safe, as I stated. And ours was at 93. Let's give it all the way would be 120. Let's cut it back. I don't like to ever go all the way right there. Let's start with 110. Okay? Now all that we're doing right there is allowing more power to our card. Okay? I'm not going to touch this core voltage. I don't need to. I'm going to do power limit. Temp limit I've lowered. Now to get started with this thing, we're going to adjust core clock first. Then we'll come back and adjust memory clock. Okay? We'll apply it, and then we'll run through the benchmark and see if anything has changed. And if we've gone too far, you'll see. So to be safe, we could start off in 50 increments. It's kind of hard to get 50. You can start off with whatever you want. I like to move around in 50 increments, right? Just a nice way to go. You can, so let's see, if you did that, you would add 1,000 megahertz on top of this thing. Now, we definitely don't want to crank it up that high. So ours, and if you want to see what it was at the beginning, that's the reset button. There was the power limit at 100, and these were in lockstep together, right? All right, so if we take that off, power limit, temp limit down to 80, because we want to be safe. Let's bump this up 10%. Let's bump up our core, which at now is nothing. Let's bump our core up to... And you don't have to sit here and futz around with this. We are vultures. Let's scavenge what the others have left for us, right? Why sit here and run this test again and again and again? Be a vulture. Google it. See what other people have done. Let's not waste our time, right? Let's not waste our time. We're vultures. So through my reading, I've come to the consensus that a core clock bump of 400 megahertz while increasing the power limits, we should see a result, and it should run stable. I'm going to leave the fan on auto. I'm going to click check to apply. Now, what we've done just with that is we've given it more power. I've told it that I want it to not get as hot or shut down, and then I want the core clock to go up by 400 megahertz. I'm not going to touch the memory clock now. Let's just see what a core clock 400 jump does. I hit that. Let's click the smally small. Let's go over to a benchmark. Let's hit run. So we have just overclocked our cards, boys and girls. That's how easy it was. We're giving it 400 extra. And we're back. We had a complete catastrophic. Oh, no. Well, it wasn't catastrophic. You know what happened? You didn't see it, but I did. You want me to tell you what happened? My computer completely turned pink, and I was forced to what? Hit the reset button. That's it. Don't freak out. Nothing broke. Nothing bad happened. My computer completely went pink, and I had to hit the reset button. MSI Afterburner, knowing what it did, said, hey, man, let's not do that again, and turned everything down the way it was. So I would say what I just did was no bueno. So let's take that core clock. 400 was way too hot. Let's cut it down to 205. Hit that check and let's see what happens. Let's try again. So we went way too hot at 400. We cut it down to 200. This is all it is. It is a back and forth repetitive game of ticky-tack, put it on, take it off. Or you could do it the slow but sure, much better way than I was doing it. Let's see. Is the test going to run, or did it just freeze? I think it's frozen. The computer has frozen. Let's see if I can get out of this one. Oh, I can get out of this one. All right, another result. 400, no good. 200, no good. Is the video still recording? Good. Video still recording? Good. All right, let's give it another whirl. So we went too hot. And you might be saying, Josh, come on, you failed 3 times. You're wasting my time. You're wasting your own time. I'm not. Let's not look at it like a negative. Let's look at it like a positive. We've learned 2 things so far. Because I chose to do this the more difficult way, instead of following normal protocol, I have chose to do it the reversey-backy way. My clock, my core clock, does not get excited if I go to 400, and it hates 200 as well. Knowing that, let's ratchet it down to 107, hit the apply button, and try for the 3rd time. Will we get a different result? Let's see. Couldn't do 400 on the core. Couldn't do 200 on the core. Let's see if we can do 100 megahertz overclock and get through this benchmark test and see if there is a result. We've given it 10% more power. Oh, this is good so far. Let's hit benchmark and see what happens. All right. Now, if you remember, our graphics has gone up. We've told it we need to give it more power. We've given it 100 extra megahertz to run with. Is 100 extra megahertz going to see us a result? I still have Streamlabs OBS open in the background, so we're still taking away a little bit there. My temperature is up to 72, holding steady, but we've given it an extra. So, guys, right now, as scary as it might be, if you got those results, I'd say maybe work backwards. So you don't just get so scared like I did. Well, I didn't get scared because I knew it was going to happen. So I went hard right off the gate. Let's jump out the gate and put 400 on this thing. And my computer went, no. The whole screen turned a very pretty color pink, and I had to hit the restart button. Second time, I cut it down. All right, you didn't like 4? Let's go to 200. The benchmark started up and then froze. Again, I had to hit the restart button. This is our 3rd attempt with a 100 megahertz overclock on our graphics card, giving it 10% more power, telling it I only want you to max out at 80 and 100 on the clock. Temperature seems good, holding steady. It's achieved 75 at its greatest peak. Now our number, I don't remember what our number was. 26 something? 27 something? I should have written it down. What's in one of these videos? Damn it, I won't be able to live tell you if it was bigger or not. All right, we're just going to sit here through it. Looks like we're making it through the video. We're making it. Chickens and butts and chickens. 75 degrees Celsius is the highest. So we're good, right? Everything's steady and we're good. 75 degrees Celsius. So from what I remember, we've gained 1 degree of heat, giving it 10% more power, 100% 100 more on the clock. At most, we've gained 1 degree of Celsius. Let's see if the results are any different. Halfway through the test, and away we go. Now, if you did it the way that I would recommend you do it, and you did a 50, you increased it to 50, you could run the test. Test would have run fine. And then you could have increased it more to 100 and 100. Run the test. Test would have been fine in my scenario. So now we know it couldn't do 2. Seems to handle 1. So we have only one more logical place to go after this. If this test runs complete and we stay under our 80, we will crank this thing up to 150 next, run the test again, and know that our limit as of right now would be 150. We are overclocking. It's not as exciting as it damn sounds. It's actually pretty boring. My clocks are over, and I'm overclocking. Oh, how cool is that? Let's see if there's a result. I'm going to have to go back to the tape. I didn't write this down. It's either 26 or 27. 26 and change or 27 and change. Maybe we'll just get to 28 or 29 and change, and I won't have to worry about it. Let's see. To scene 23. Scene 24. Blah, 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 blah. Scene 25. Blah, 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 blah. 75 degree. 75, 75, 75, 75, 75. Thinking about 76. Is the test going to complete itself? Test is complete. We're up to a 2881. 2881. That's a result, boys and girls. So our 100 degree... oh man, this is a good result. Let's remember this. That's a win, 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 win. Our overclock is already paying dividends. We're giving it more power. We've given it 100 more megahertz to play with. What a good result. All right, here comes again. Let's see if we can get this to 150. And we'll run the test one more time. And that was a what? A 2881? Let's see if this test can complete. If it completes, can we achieve more than a 2881? Will this card hold at 150 megahertz on top? So far, no, look, here's a little pixelation over there. We've done, no, it cannot, it cannot, it cannot. Throw in the towel, throw in the towel. She's down for the count. There it is. We've hit our limit. We must back this down. Well, I guess we could try 120. Try 129. All right, let's try 129. You talk me into it. Benchmark. Nope. There again. Froze. Can't take it. All right. So I think, as it stands right now, when I run Streamlabs in the background and I run this Unigine test with an overclock on, the best we can hope for is a 107 at 80 degree temp limit with power 10% increased. Okay, we've got that. Now, memory clock can go from 0 on mine all the way up to 1,000. Let's go big again. Let's cut it. What did we hit last time? Oh, we got 100 here. So I guess we could be, let's just cut the thing in half. Boom. Let's go 500. Let's see how close we can get to 500. There it is. Nope, I want to be over. 504. I'm going for it all right here. Hit the apply settings button. So now this time we've left the core clock alone. Now we're increasing the memory and we've gone halfway as big as we can. This seems like a stretch. From what I've read, this is a stretch. It's taking it. It's taking it. So we've increased the memory clock, as you can see up in that corner, by 500 megahertz. We still capped it at 80 degrees Celsius. It still has the 100 megahertz on top on the graphics. The test is running. Oh, this is exciting. So this is all benchmarking is with MSI's Afterburner program. Okay, this is all it is. What else could we do to this card? We could give it more power. We only gave it that 10% bump. We could give it more. We could take the auto off on the fan and maybe just blow this thing, but I'm not seeing any temperature increases, and I don't want to hear the audible difference. If I see something happen with the temperature, then maybe take that auto fan off. But right now, with my card, which is the GTX 1060E 6 gig SSC, right now, so far, this is good results. This is a good result. And our other score was a 2881. So just because this test is running and we have not exceeded our temperature and we're feeling good and giddy that we put 500 on the memory, is it going to do anything? Is it going to make that number go higher? Just because we've given it extra memory megahertz, is that going to translate into a bigger number? Look at our temperature. 76, 77. This is the highest we've ever seen. Still within the 80. So we're fine. Interesting, though. We did something, and we're getting a hotter temperature. I'm interested to see if we can beat that 2881. 77, 76. Another thing to keep in mind is if my limit is 80, and I'm now getting darn close to it at 76, where do I stop? Maybe this 500 could go to 600, could go to 700. Do I want to get to the 80? I think 80 is a safe ceiling. I prefer to keep it in the 70s. That's just me. Call it what it is. Oh, look at that. We froze. I think we froze. We froze. Halfway through the test, everything was going so well and we froze. Oh, it's coming back. Oh, it's coming back. All right, she's coming back. See what happened there? Test froze for a minute. So I would say the 500 on the memory, maybe a little hot. But it's taking it. And let's see what number we can get. Now, with that happening, I would say it's not 100% stable. Because it seems like it's something's happening there. So I think the temperature's fine. That's where I'm concerned. The temperature's fine. Whether we get a stable run, though, it's another thing to look at. Seeing up to 21 out of 26. We're almost there. 2881 is what we need to beat. 2881. Scene 23. So we've had one big stutter in the middle, but it fixed itself. And it wasn't temperature related, because the temperature didn't creep past 77 from what I've seen. So it wasn't a temperature sticky jawea. It was just something happened. Scene 24. Scene 25. Benchmark results are coming. 100 megahertz increase on the core speed. 500 megahertz. You see that? See those colors? Those colors weren't there before. 3030. Wow. But look at the minimum FPS. At some point, it died all the way down. Max FPS has gone up. Look at the score of a 3030. That's a result. I would say it's not a stable result, and we went a little hot. But for this card, we got a result. I'd say we do it one more time, and I'm saying we're going to get a smaller result, but I would feel better knowing that this was at 400. And let's cap this night off running this test one more time. And let's see if we can find a sweet spot that doesn't freeze. 3030. I don't think we're going to beat that score with this run, but I would like to see the run without running. All right, here it is. 100 megahertz core clock increase. 400 megahertz memory increase. Still the 80 cap on the temperature. And here she goes. I don't anticipate beating 3030, but I'm hoping the middle of this test doesn't freeze and we can beat that bottom, that minimum, because it wasn't stable. So yes, for one run, we got a hot number. Would it continue to run and work in game? Don't know. We haven't tested game yet. But I think it was too hot. Too hot of a run. Not temperature-wise, just a little too aggressive, that's all. So we backed it down. And this will be the last test we get tonight. No freezing yet. This is a good result. This is a time where we can stop and ponder. Why are we even doing this? Just because it sounds cool? What do we hope to achieve? Oh, saw a little in the sunlight there. Things like that are called artifacting. Now, if it wasn't normal, and you're seeing things appear on your screen that normally don't, that's called artifacting. And it's not good. It means something is not happy. So if you see things like that, you don't just have to have a complete shutdown to be like, that was too much. If you're seeing things jump on the screen and colors appear, things that aren't normal, because we've watched this test 3 times now, you can see things that weren't there before. This test is never going to change. It's always going to be exactly the same. That's the point of it. So if things happen on the screen that didn't happen before, that's your graphics card saying, hey man, I'm not happy. So pay attention to that kind of stuff. We're not just aiming for numbers here. We're aiming for smooth numbers. Smooth numbers. Back to what I was saying. What is the point of this? Nobody in their right mind plays with cards. So we got past where it froze. It froze right here last time, or right before here. So we're doing good in that aspect. But anyway, this is all good, and we're doing it just to get some number results. But we need to actually see what it does in-game. Or in an edit, in something. Nobody just does this to do this. We need to actually apply it on something to see if it was worth it to do it. Right? What do you hope to get out of this? A faster 4K render? Couple frames on your game? Why overclock? I have no idea. It sounds cool. You can tell somebody you did it. When this test is all said and done, am I going to keep this overclock even though I'm pretty darn sure it's stable and happy and my card's pretty good? No, probably not. Everything I do is fine with this card the way it is. Why am I doing this? Just so you can show you how to do it. That's all. We're going to fire up that precision program next. See what the results are there. 2 more scenes to go. 3030 was the number to beat, but that low was like a 7. Minimum is 37 right now. So this was much better of a run. Max 226, much better of a run. 3024, slightly off that 3030 number, but look at that minimum, 37. Way better run. I would say this has been a successful overclock, boys and girls. We have hit, and we'll show you one more time, this has been a completely successful overclock on the GTX 20, yeah, right, it's not 2060. Power limit up to 110. Temp limit, we kept it at 80. Core clock, 107. Mem clock, 407. Fan speed, auto. We have successfully perfect overclock. This is what I would say. If you want to do things like this, and you have the exact card I have, give this a good whirl. Use what I just gave you. Vulture off of me, so you don't have to futz around. And start there. See what we do. Let's remember all this. Ba-boom. We remembered it. Now we'll take it in-game later and see if it translates. Now we'll do regular and then this in-game, and we'll see what happens. We don't need any of the other stuff. I'm going to restart it like I said. I'm going to close out of it like I said. Okay? Now we're going to fire up this program. EVGA Precision X1. Ooh, it's like an overlay right on my screen. All right, here we go. Memory 4000, GPU, target. All right, let's see. Check this all out. Blah, 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 boom, boom. This looks cool. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. Let's clock off of this. Let's get that down. Let's give it the same 110 that we did. Now this, we can change the clock. We can actually change the voltage here, and we can change the memory clock. So right off the rip, it's already at 400 plus. And the clock is already at 139. Let's kick this up. Let's give it the old 100 on top. Let's give that the 400 on the clock. Good. This one we can actually change the voltage. We don't need to do that. Let's apply that. And let's minimize that. And let's run the same test with the same data we used from the other one. Let's see what the result is here. I don't know what's different. We just used a different program. Benchmark. Let's see if what we did with this program compares to what we did with the other program. We just scored a 3024. This will be the final time we run this test tonight because I'm tired of watching it. As you can see, the same hot thing up there. We've added the 100 on the megahertz, the 400 on the memory. We just used a different program. Minimum FPS 67.9. So as of right now, I guess we haven't gotten to the part in the test where things get a little hairy or things get happy because we're only at 179 there. Temperature's fine. So I stand and say that with my card, the EVGA GeForce GTX 1060 6GB SSC, in my configuration, I feel it's safe to say 100 megahertz overclock on the core graphics is good. A 400 megahertz increase in the memory is good. Capping the temperature at 80 degrees Celsius is good. Giving it a 10% boost in power is good. And I feel you could use those settings all day and all night in the benchmark that we're running, and we'll see if the number stays the same. And I feel like you could do this with either MSI Afterburner or the Precision X1. Either program, and you're going to get a very similar result. Almost halfway through the test. Next, we're going to take you guys in-game with a little CSGO, not overclocked, and then overclocked. And we'll use the exact overclock that we've used these two programs, and we'll monitor our FPS, and we'll see if overclocking translates to in-game FPS increase. That's the goal. Hopefully it is. So as you can see right now, either program you go with, if you come to the same number, both programs have the same capability to do the same things. They've told the graphics card exactly the same information because that's what we input. So it doesn't matter which program you use. It's what you're more comfortable with. 6 more scenes to go. Minimum FPS 37, max 224. I believe that's exactly what we did with the other one because it's the exact same tune. We just used a different program. So we've proven 2 different programs with the same parameters will net us maybe the same result. What was it, a 3024? 3024 stable. We hit that 3030, it was unstable. 3024. Let's see if we can beat a 3024, if we can get the same as a 3024. Come on, baby. 75 on that temperature. Scene 25. Scene 25. Scene 25. Scene 26. Here we go. So we had a 3024 before. 3024. 3012. Okay. right there, same thing. 3024 FPS, min, max, about the same. Give or take a couple points on the score. 3012, 3024. Same thing. We did it. Same different program. Basically the same result. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, also known as CSGO. Here comes our initial FPS test, no overclock, on the GTX 1066 gig. We're going to do the Dust 2 map, and we're going to see what kind of CSGO we can get. I mean, FPS we can get. 118 at the menu. Good start. Play CSGO. Dust 2. 118 at the menu. 119 at the menu. Well, you can see that. I don't need to keep saying it. Dust 2. This gives us a map for map. Yes, this is map for map. All right, so this is the non-overclocked initial run FPS capture. Can we get to that 144 stable? Can we get higher? Can we get a 200 stable? I have no idea what to expect with this card. And here we counter-terrorist all day. All right, looks like in the map, Dust 2, 142, 143, 142, 143, 129, 137, 143, 140, 142, 143. We're hanging right around the 144 that I want. 141, 143, 141, 143. Pop, 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 pop. I don't know why I changed my gun. That was a terrible time to change a gun. Well, as you can see, oh, we dipped down there. When heavy things are going on the screen, pop, 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 pop. Looks like we got to kill. We got to go. We got to go. Let's see. That's me. Does this guy have a taser in his hand? Look at this guy. Pop me in the back of my head. So when things get hairy and a lot's going on screen, it looks like we dip down into the 90s. So definitely nothing stable here. But it looks like 120s. Yeah. All right, when there was massive chaos on screen, we were in the 90s. Somebody's shooting me. Come on, I'm going to shoot this guy right now. Oh, wait. All right, so here we go. Match. Come on. 143. Here's my whole team on my screen. 142, 143. I'll jump too. Let's all jump. Great. Yay, we're jumping. Yay, we're jumping. Okay, as you can see, when there's these dudes on the map, nothing's going on. 142. Let's go in here. Lead charge. 121. Dip down to 136. 108. Okay, you can see. Let's see what kind of result we can get. So that is CSGO, non-overclocked. Away to the desktop we go. All right, so this is the overclocked version of Dust 2, the map on CSGO. Here we go. GTX 1060 EVGA GeForce 6 GB edition. This is our 100 and the 400 overclock. Let's see what FPS we get. All right, here we go. I'm in. That's my team. I'm starting on 142 frames per second, 143 frames a second. You can watch it up there as I go. 144, 136, 142, 142, 143. You can see it as I'm playing. I'm trying to watch both numbers and shoot a guy. 142, 143. I got a flashbang. I can't see anything. 142, 143, 142, 143. There's a result. That's a result. As you can see, that's a result. Bang. GTX 1060 running OBS in the background, playing Dust 2 map. We were kind of around 140-ish. Benchmark. Yes, here we go. Benchmark. All right, here we go. As we can see, that cool skull in the ice and a gear. Here we go. This is the GTX 1060. We have Streamlabs OBS open in the background. We have Afterburner minimized. I don't know why. We're not using it right now. This is the non-overclocked first run on Gears 5. As you can see, we're getting 60 frames per second right now. Let's see. We'll do this test now, and then we'll do the test again after we overclock. And hopefully, maybe in this scenario, we'll get a better result than we did in CSGO. Here we go. It's a pretty looking game, isn't it? Average frame rate, 67 frames per second. GPU is running about 69%. CPU is working its little butt off too at 67%. And I have plenty of RAM, so only a third of it's being used. Average frame rate, 66. Do. Doesn't Gears 5 on Xbox One X play at 4K at 60? I think it does. Well, here's our result. Unoverclocked GTX 1066 gig. There it is. Windows resolution. Minimum frame rate, 60. Look, we had everything on ultra, highs, and ultras, and highs, and ultras. Here we go. All right, there it was. Average frame rate, 67.6 frames per second. Average GPU frame rate, 68.7 frames per second. There we go. Let's see what we can get now. Bump the power to 110. Want my thingy to be at 80. You know I like to be conservative on this. Here we go. 107 was the magic number. 407 was the magic number. Click that big fat check mark or nothing happens. And let's load up the same game. Let's see what happens. Yeah, whatever. Here we go. Now, this is the GTX 1060 with our sweet overclock, in which we achieved a result on our benchmark score. We didn't see any results in the CSGO real life test. Let's see in Gears 5 if we get any kind of result. Let's hope. Or overclocking might just mean we get a cooler number in something that we'll never use again. Real world second game test. Comment down below. Do you think we're going to see any increase? I have serious doubts, but let's see. Yeah, we know who made it, the coalition. Whoopity-doo. So, if you didn't remember, and I just did it 22 seconds ago, the overclock is we're giving it more power, more memory clock, more core clock. Let's see what happens. Extras, benchmark. Yes, I'm running this on an old non-SSD hard drive, non-NVMe hard drive. That's probably why it's extra slow. Here we go. Ooh, look at that. We're in the 80s in the frames. Down to the 70s. I'm seeing some 70s average frame rate. Our other one was what, 67 and 68? Well, we'll see. I don't know. If I just watch the screen, I cannot discernibly distinguish 3 extra frames. So for all that work we did grabbing the numbers and, oh man, we got that number bigger in that benchmark. Whoop-de-doo. Do we see any difference here? Nope. Did we see any difference in CSGO? Nope. Is overclocking the GTX 1066 gig worth it in anything I've done so far? Nope. Maybe I'll save you some time and you don't have to do this. 70.8 and 72.1. So we achieved very little. Yay! We achieved very little. Yay! Jaw to the floor. Look at me. CSGO, Gears 5, squad douchey. Have we wasted our time? Can't look at it that way. It feels that way. I wasted my time. You wasted your time watching me waste my time. Is it a waste of time? Let's not leave on a negative. Let's not do that. We achieved a result in a benchmark, a synthetic benchmark. We got a number, and then we made another number bigger. GeForce EVGA GeForce GTX 1060 6GB. When given an overclock, more power, more core, more memory. In CSGO, in Gears 5 Ultimate, we achieved squadooshkies. Look, you see my fingers? Let's see if I can get them to raise. Just a hair. In Gears 5, we got, what, 3 frames per second? In CSGO, I don't know, did we lose frames? I'm going to lose my hair that's already falling out. Overclocking this card in my particular scenario is an uber waste of time. Tell your grandmom, tell your friends, don't do it. Come back, watch more videos. Is it still a bangarang card? GTX 1060? I edit everything on a daily basis in 4K in this card. I have 0 problems. I can play Gears 5, 70 frames per second. I can play CSGO, 140. Those sound good to me. But wasting our time overclocking? We didn't get out of this what I thought we were going to get out of this. I even thought this could possibly be good for streamers as you're running your OBS. It's going to take some of your stuff away. You might drop some frames because you're recording. I figured let's overclock and we'll get those frames back to what we would be if we weren't losing the frames in OBS. Didn't happen. Overclocking this card, not worth it. It's a waste of time, and I would say don't do it. Just use the card as it is, and if you don't like the way it is, you're going to have to get a new card. Don't waste your time overclocking this card because it's not worth it. Subscribe, hit the like button, tell a friend. See you next time. Go out and be a vulture. If you can get this card for $100, hell yeah. Don't overclock it. Hell no. See you next time, boys and girls.